Hey everyone, Zero here. In today's video, I want to do a budget deck profile of the latest Blue Eyes White Destiny structure deck. My goal in this video is to show a build of a Blue Eyes deck with 3 copies of the structure deck, while also not having to spend too much. This is my first deck profile, so I'm excited to see how it goes. With that said, let's get started. So we're going to start with 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons. Not much to be said since they're normal monsters, but they're the heart of the deck, so they're essential in all of your plays. Next, we have 3 copies of Maiden of White. She can be used to set 1 True Life from your hand, deck, or graveyard face up on your field. You can also special summon her from your graveyard if you special summon Blue Eyes White Dragon. And if she's targeted by an effect or by an attack, you can special summon 1 Blue Eyes White Dragon or 1 level 1 Light Tuner from your graveyard. She's a good target for your Sage's effect. Next up, 3 copies of Neo Kaiser Seahorse. Our retrain of Kaiser Seahorse. This upgrade is a tuner and a dragon type, making him great for synchro material and to link summon your spirit with Eyes of Blue and even your Heroic Seal of the Heavenly Spheres. So you can special summon him from the hand if you control a Blue Eyes White Dragon. You can also increase or decrease the level of 1 light tuner you control by 1. And if you send from the field to the graveyard, you can send 1 Blue Eyes monster or 1 monster that mentions Blue Eyes White Dragon from your deck to the graveyard. Now here we have 3 copies of Sage with Eyes of Blue. When he's normal summon, you can add 1 level 1 light tuner from your deck to your hand. You can also discard him, then send 1 effect monster you control, send it to the graveyard, then special summon a Blue Eyes monster from the deck. You definitely want to use this effect on Maiden of White, so you can use her effect to special summon. Next, we have 2 copies of Dictator of D. I put 2 since he's not super essential, but he is good at sending a Blue Eyes monster from your deck to your graveyard to special summon himself. He can also send a Blue Eyes White Dragon or a card that mentions it to the graveyard, to then special summon a Blue Eyes monster from your grave. Oh, and while you control a Blue Eyes monster, you can redirect your opponent's attacks. Here I decided on just 1 copy of the White Stone of Ancients. You can always use him as a link material for your spirit with Eyes of Blue, then use its effect at the end of the turn to special summon a Blue Eyes monster. You can also use its graveyard effect to get a Blue Eyes monster back to your hand from your graveyard. The White Stone of Ancient isn't necessarily needed with the new support, so I think 1 is fine. Alright. Next, I have 2 Blue Eyes Jet Dragons. Most people would probably just have 1, but I stuck with 2 because if you have 2 on the field, then they protect each other along with the rest of the cards on your field from your opponent's destruction effects. It can also send 1 of your opponent's monsters back to the hand when it attacks. Next, I have just 1 copy of Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon. You can special summon him from the hand by revealing a Blue Eyes White Dragon in your hand. His name becomes Blue Eyes White Dragon while on the field or in the graveyard, and it can destroy 1 of your opponent's monsters, but it can't attack after that. I think 1 copy is enough. You don't want too many level 8 monsters. With that being said, here's another level 8. Just 1 Blue Eyes Abyss Dragon is enough. If it's special summon, you can add 1 ritual spell or 1 polymerization card from your deck. And during the end phase, you can add 1 level 8 or higher dragon monster from the deck. Your targets with these 2 effects will be Chaos Form and Chaos Max Dragon. And lastly, you can banish this card from the grave to increase all level 8 or higher dragon monsters' attack by 1000. Here we have 1 copy of one of my favorite Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragon. This one is 1 absolute unit, as he can't be targeted by card effects or be destroyed by card effects, has a massive 4000 attack points, and does double piercing damage. I love this card. It just embodies that engine of destruction. Next are the hand traps, and here we have 3 Ash Blossoms. 3 of these are essential in the deck, just to counter your opponent's plays. Now to finish off the monsters, we have 3 Effect Veilers, which can negate an opponent's monster effect. 3 of these are essential too, and it can be easily searched thanks to Sage. Alright, now we'll be going into the spells. Here I have Called by the Grave. Now normally I would run 2, but unfortunately it's limited to just 1, so what this can do is banish a monster in your opponent's grave and negate its effect. Typically you use this to stop one of your opponent's hand traps, but you could also use it to stop any monster with a pesky graveyard effect. Alright, here's 1 copy of the field spell, Mausoleum of White. With this, you can normal summon 1 level 1 light tuner in addition to your normal summon. You can also target 1 monster you control, send 1 normal monster from your hand or deck to the graveyard, and the targeted monster gains attack equal to the level of the monster sent to the grave, times 100. You can also banish this card from your grave and add 1 burst Stream of Destruction from your deck to your hand, but that effect isn't important at all since I didn't add that card to the deck. Here's 1 copy of Chaos Form. You're gonna need that to summon Chaos Max Dragon. Basically what that's for. Here we have Ultimate Fusion. This will be needed for your fusion summoning. It can send your Blue Eyes monsters from your hand, field, and graveyard to the deck to summon your Blue Eyes Fusion. And as a bonus, if you use Blue Eyes White Dragon as material from your field, you can destroy cards on your opponent's field up to the number of amount you used. Alright, next up, 2 copies of Roar of the Blue-Eyed Dragons. This bad boy here can do a lot of special summoning. With its first effect, you can special summon a defense position 1 Blue Eyes monster from your deck, grave, or banishment. Although if you don't control a Blue Eyes White Dragon when you use this, then you have no choice but to summon Blue Eyes White Dragon. And for the rest of the turn, you can't summon from the extra deck except dragons, which isn't a big deal in this deck. Now for its second effect, you can banish this card from the graveyard, then fusion summon from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field, including a Blue Eyes monster. This card is helpful to build your field and to fusion summon, so I put 2 since I already put Ultimate Fusion in the deck. Now here I have 3 copies of Wishes for Eyes of Blue. This card is amazing. The artwork and effect are just awesome. So what this card can do is discard 1 card and add 1 level 1 light tuner and 1 spell or trap that mentions Blue Eyes White Dragon. That effect alone can get you 2 of whatever cards you need, including the new support. This is the searcher that this archetype needed. I also can't forget its other effect where you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target 1 Blue Eyes White Dragon you control, and equip it with the Blue Eyes monster from your extra deck as an equip spell to give it 400 attack. Which is helpful to get out your Tyrant Dragon or to help get out Dragon Master Majra, if you own one. Neo Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon is a good card to use as an equip because after it's sent to the grave, it can use its effect to protect your Blue Eyes monsters. Alright, that's it for the spells. Now let's get into the traps. Here we have another awesome card with amazing artwork. In fact, I'm using it as a mat right now. Majesty of the White Dragons. With this, show up to 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons in your hand, face up monster zone and or graveyard, then destroy an equal number of cards your opponent controls. You can also banish it from the grave to ritual summon from your hand by tributing Blue Eyes White Dragon from your hand or field. I only put 1 since it can be easily searched with wishes if you really want it. Last of the Blue Eyes cards, we have one copy of True Light. Just one because it can be searched thanks to Maiden or Wishes. This continuous protects your Blue Eyes White Dragons from the target effects. You can special summon one from your hand or grave, or you can set one spell or trap from your deck that mentions Blue Eyes White Dragon. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, destroy all monsters you control. This is a pretty big negative, but there are ways around it, like Jet Dragon or your opponent banishing it or returning it to your deck. This is why I argue that this is better than the Dark Magician counterpart, Eternal Soul. With Eternal Soul, if it leaves the field in any way, you destroy your monsters. With True Light, it has to go to the graveyard to activate this effect. So, fun fact there. To end the traps, we have 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. This is another good hand trap that you can use on your opponent's turn straight from your hand to negate their monster effects. If you control no cards, if you set it and activate it normally, then you can negate all spells and traps on the same column. Alright, that's it for the traps, but I gotta say, the amount of staples and hand traps they put in this structure deck is insane. It's why I recommend picking this deck up. We'll be putting up a fight. Alright. Now let's get into the extra deck. And let's start with the fusion monsters. Here I have one copy of Blue Eyes Twin Burst Dragon. I decided on one because this one isn't going to be your go-to fusion, but it's good to have just in case. It's the easiest one to summon, needing just 2 Blue Eyes White Dragons, and can be fusion summoned normally or through contact fusion. It can't be destroyed by battle. It can attack up to 2 times each battle phase, and if it attacks a monster and that monster isn't destroyed, it's banished instead. Alright. Next up, 2 copies of Blue Eyes Tyrant Dragon. This one here is definitely one of your more desired fusion monsters. He has 2 ways to be summoned. One way is the normal way, using 1 Blue Eyes White Dragon and 1 Dragon monster. The other way is tributing 1 Blue Eyes White Dragon equipped with a fusion monster, which is much easier thanks to Wishes for Eyes of Blue. This dragon is unaffected by traps and can attack all of your opponent's monsters. Also, once per turn, if this card battles, you can set 1 trap from your graveyard. Here I have just 1 copy of yugioh Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. 1 is enough, since just like Twin Burst, it's not your main fusion monster to summon. You'll need 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons to summon it. If this fusion summon card attacks and is the only face-up card you control, you can send 1 Blue Eyes fusion monster from your extra deck to your graveyard and it can attack again. This effect can be done twice per turn. Also, as mentioned before, when a card or effect is activated that targets a Blue Eyes monster you control, you can banish this card from your graveyard, negate the activation, and destroy that card. Next up are the Synchro monsters. Here we have 1 copy of Azure Eyes Silver Dragon. 1 should suffice, since you'll be summoning him with Spirit Dragon's effect. So once it's special summoned, for essentially 2 turns, it protects your current dragon monster from being targeted and effect destruction. It also lets you special summon normal monster from your graveyard once per turn. Here we have 2 Blue Eye Spirit Dragons. This one will require 1 Blue Eyes monster as material. While on the field, it prevents both players from special summoning 2 or more monsters at the same time. It can negate a card effect from the graveyard, and it contributes itself to special summon 1 light dragon synchro monster from the extra deck, but destroy during the end phase. Azure Eyes is typically a good choice, since it prevents the destruction with its effect. Next, 2 copies of Blue Eyes Ultimate Spirit Dragon. This card will require 2 tuners and a Blue Eyes monster to summon it. With Neo Kaiser Seahorse, this shouldn't be a problem. So with this, your opponent can't banish your cards from your graveyard, which is good protection. Also, when a card or effect is activated on the field, you can negate it, and then this card gains 1000 attack until the end of the turn. And if this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon one light dragon monster from your graveyard. Alright. Next, 2 copies of the 1 Xyz monster, Indigo Eyes Silver Dragon. 2 level 8 dragons to summon, not exactly hard in this deck. It can't attack directly unless it has a normal monster as material, and just being Xyz summon negates the effects of all face-up cards your opponent controls. Lastly, by detaching 1 material, you can special summon a normal monster in your graveyard or banishment, and it will gain 1000 attack. Finally, on to the links, we have 3 copies of Spirit with Eyes of Blue. Requires 1 level 4 or lower dragon or spellcaster monster. You can't special summon except dragons. Again, not really a detriment in this deck. So once it's link summoned, you can take 1 Mausoleum of Wife from your deck and either add it to your hand or send it to the grave. You can also attribute this card to special summon 1 Blue Eyes monster from your hand or grave, but if you special summon an effect monster from your graveyard, it can't attack and its effects are negated. And to finish things off, we have 1 Heroic Seal of the Heavenly Spheres. Requires 2 dragon monsters. So what this card can do is let you tribute 1 monster from your hand or field to return 1 face-up card on the field to the hand. And if this card is tributed, you can special summon 1 dragon monster from your hand or deck, but its attacks and defense are 0. This is mostly helpful in getting rid of an opponent's card and setting up an extra deck summon. And that's it. That concludes my Blue Eyes White Destiny budget deck profile. This was my first attempt at it. I hope some of you guys found this helpful. Let me know if you have anything you would have changed. If you enjoyed, please leave a like. And until next time, see ya!